How's your end?
Yeah, good. We're good. Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Welcome to today's broadcast. Wow, do we have a fascinating program for you today? Our guest, Stan Deyo, is here, and he is going to be really helping us understand some new advanced technology that's being used and some of the discoveries, even that's being found at the pyramids in Egypt. Are you serious? And we also want to take a peek at two other things. Some of the AI technologies. What are some of the five things people are very concerned about with the advancement of AI technology today? And don't forget, is this EMP threat from North Korea, is it really over with, or should we be concerned? I have a report here that arrived on my desk that was actually sent to the U.S. House of Representatives and Committee on Homeland Security. It was dated October 12, 2017. But has this threat been actually put down? We're going to ask Stan Deyo his opinion in just a second. Stan, welcome to the broadcast.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invite. There's a lot to talk about today, isn't there?
There absolutely is. And I think the first thing I find fascinating is this new technology, advanced technology they're using at the pyramids. You want to help us understand that a little bit?
Look, I don't know if your listeners can do this, but if they can go to my website, standeo.com, and look over in the first page of the right where it says YouTube, and underneath that it'll say Show Images. Click on that, and it'll take you over to six of the hosts that I deal with here. And your name is there, your picture's there, and they click on that, it'll get to a bunch of pictures we can talk about and videos and things about this technology and some other things we're going to talk about today. So I don't know if you could post that on your website or what, but or your chat room maybe, something.
Yeah, they're posting in the chat room, and we've just now put on the screen the pyramid, the infrared picture of the pyramid, which is just a spectacular picture. So tell us what it is we're seeing here.
Well, this part is just one of the frames I've taken out of a movie on Vimeo. And it's from an organization, it's called Scan the Pyramids, or Scan Pyramids. And they have produced a couple of videos, which you can link to from that one. They've used technology in the infrared range to put sensors inside the Great Pyramid at Khufu there. And they have found where the heat concentrations are in the pyramid. They've also put broadcast plates, which broadcast frequencies from about 800 kilohertz to 1.3 megahertz down into the pyramid to see if the pyramid had some kind of a function of focusing electromagnetic radiation. And it does. And in the video, you'll see cross sections of it where when they put the radio frequencies down on top of the pyramid, the darn thing got hot in the middle of the pyramid. It just showed really hot red where the focus of the electromagnetic radiation was. And at 230 meters, or about 1.3 megahertz, it was very hot. So they proved that the pyramid, the structure with the limestone and stuff they built it with, will focus electromagnetic radiation, light waves or radio waves in this case, down into the inside of that. Now, why did the Greeks, in 100 and 200 BC, back in that era, why did they call these structures in Egypt pyramids? Well, pyra is from pyro, fire, mid, in the middle. It had a fire in the middle they knew about 2,200 years ago. Now, Herodotus, Pliny the Elder, Solon, all these guys went over, into Egypt, talked with the priests who were still working there in various functions, and they were shown one remarkable thing underneath the Great Pyramid, and it has not been uncovered officially yet today. If you're looking on that Show Images page at image 52, this is an artist's rendition of what Herodotus and Pliny the Elder and Solon, what they were talking about. They were taken underground through a tunnel, and they went into a large complex, lots of tunnels inside and channels and rooms that were decorated with mosaics on the wall. They had pillars in there, decorated pillars. They had light bulbs stretched on the wall.
What?
Now this 2,200 years ago, they had tubes, they called them. They saw the tubes. When they walked into this tunnel, it was black, dark. As they walked into it, the light turned on right next to them in the walls, and there were these tubes hanging in the walls there. And so one guy reached up to touch it, see if it was hot, and the tube went off and didn't ever come back on. So they didn't do that again. They walked on further, other tubes turning on and turning off as they passed, and there was a cracked tube there. So he reached up to see what was inside of it because it was black, it was dark, and as he pulled it out, the light from the other lights showed him a silvery liquid fell out and down onto the bricks down underneath him and into the cracks and disappeared. Well, obviously that was mercury.
Yeah.
So it was a mercury-filled tube of some sort that was getting energy to ionize it, from something 2,200 years ago, right underneath the pyramid of Cheops or Khufu.
Yeah, Stan. I mean, this is blowing my mind. I'm stuttering almost. I mean, you have to have an energy source. I understand they had the mercury, and that in itself, that they would have tubes with mercury 2,000 years ago, is fascinating. But you're saying the lights were on, that the lights were still working. Somebody tell GE with their light bulbs. Somebody tell them that the bulbs can have a lifetime that really works.
Well, what is interesting is the frequency that this pyramid collects. The best frequency we can see so far is 1.3 megahertz. This is in the range that Dr. Henry Moray developed his free energy atmospheric converter, his electricity antenna, from using about 1.2 to 1.3 megahertz. He was tying into the same frequency these guys did with the pyramid. And he was able to get 50,000 watts continuous power out of his antenna with this. That's what Tim and I are working on here.
So, okay, but what was the energy source? I mean, the energy
source is electrostatic waves. Now, it's not electric waves, it's not electromagnetic waves, it's electrostatic waves. So you have a charge in the atmosphere, the whole atmosphere is charged, and when something physically impacts the atmosphere, shocks it, shock waves go through it, and you can collect the energy of those shock waves from the...
Now, Stan, that's almost Tesla technology, because remember, he was trying to build that tower up there, and he wanted to pull the energy from the air, the frequencies, that's similar. Am I right? That's similar to Tesla?
You're absolutely correct. And Henry Moray actually followed Tesla's patents and stuff to build the test that he did. So, it's definitely an offshoot of Tesla technology. And there's one patent that was very crude of Tesla's that showed a plate and, sunlight capturing energy and stuff, and, a little device to convert it down at the bottom on the ground. But it wasn't the full one, which he would have had induction coils, Tesla coil step-down systems, and things like that. So if there was an original one that was patented, the government or somebody took it. So we're having to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, this is really fascinating information I did not know. To find light bulbs or tubes, let's call them tubes with mercury in it, that are motion censored. Now, that's not right. It's not necessarily motion censored, but it's energy censored. Because
it might be sensing the presence of a wet human body, sweaty body, or just a body that absorbs a charge from the floor to the walls or something. As you walk past it, it turns on. Then when you're gone, it turns off.
Well, then it means, okay, so let's say it's not motion censored, but it's energy censored. And so it's pulling energy from the human body to light the bulb. No?
It's just using that to trigger it. It was getting light power from something else. We think it's from the pyramid.
So it's some kind of sensor oriented. I mean, it's coming on because we're walking by.
Well, okay, if you have two plates like this, two walls, and you have a human walk down between them, that changes what's called the impedance, the resistance in the air between these two walls. And that's a sensor, I guess, like you say. Okay. And it's a crude sensor, but it uses power then from the pyramid to power the light.
What an amazing.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
That is amazing. And folks, you can check it out if you go to Stan Deyo's website, go to standale.com, standale.com. You go there and then scroll into his, go to that neon pyramid that we showed you on our thumbnail on this broadcast. Click on that, and there's a fascinating video there, plus a lot of other stuff. I mean, there it is. Click on that picture right there, and then you'll be able to watch all this and learn all this. This is great stuff.
Yeah, I just pulled up the thing from the labyrinth picture up there. I clicked on the text underneath it, the top picture. on the left. And this is from a report about ancient origins and ancient places in Africa, blah, blah, blah. It says, these are the words of the ancient Greek historian Herodotus, written in the 5th century BC. Histories, Book 2, page 148, describing a colossal temple said to contain 3,000 rooms full of hieroglyphs and paintings. It was named Labyrinth by the Greeks after the complex maze of corridors designed by Daedalus for King Minos of Crete, where the Minotaur dwelt, etc., etc. And Herodotus' words were, this I have actually seen, a work beyond words, for if anyone put together the buildings of the Greeks, a display of their labors, they would seem lesser in both effort and expense to this labyrinth. Even the pyramids are beyond words, and each was equal to many and mighty works of the Greeks, yet the labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids. So that's the labyrinth that is still buried there. And I know there was a British expedition probably, what was it, nearly 28 years ago, because they called me. They were going over there to look for this doorway because they thought that Alexander the Great may have been buried in there as well. So,
wow, fascinating stuff. So, folks, check it out at standale.com, standale.com. Stan, let me ask you, let's move to another area. Let's talk about AI technology, since that seems to be the buzzword, AI technology, but that could mean a lot of things. Today, there was an article out. There was an article out today that the 5 things people are most concerned about when it comes to AI technology. And I'll just quickly say them. Number 1, people are afraid of mass unemployment. Number 2, they're afraid of AI war or super soldiers or, Terminator type thing. Number 3, they're concerned about robo-doctors, physicians. In other words, I'll be honest with you, my mother-in-law was in the hospital. I was at the hospital sitting there, and the doctor came in. He walked in with a laptop stand. He sat down. He barely glanced at her. He sitting there, he read her entire medical history and read what the labs were that had been the blood that was drawn. And from that, he made a quick diagnosis and changed medication and left the room. Never touched her, never looked at her, never assessed her. I thought to myself, then he didn't need to even come in here. We could just go to AR doctors if that's the case. So people are worried about that. Number 4, they're worried about mass surveillance. And number 5, which they're worried about discrimination by if the AI is in charge. So these are just 5 major concerns. What do you hear in that? I mean, some of this could be myth and some of this could be realistic concerns. What is your thought on the AI technology advancement and the adjustment I think that society is going to have to make?
well, first of all, the mass unemployment, it will be gradual as they put these systems in place.
Right.
But already, like in Walmart and Safeway and stuff like that, when we go to shop, there are these self-serve checkout counters that are really artificial intelligence. That you scan the barcode of your product and you pay for it and walk out. Now, that has unemployed a number of checkers that they used to have. So that's already causing unemployment in these chain stores. Now, and also like in, I think, Home Depot and Lowe's, these home development stores, they have these kind of things there to get people through quicker, with smaller purchases. So, yeah, unemployment is going to be an issue there. And while we're talking about that, when we die and go to heaven, you talk about artificial intelligence. It's going to be real intelligence managing us there. And unemployment won't be an issue.
No.
I don't know how he's going to give us, the ability to spend or, get stuff. Maybe some kind of computer you talk to that makes what you want. But that won't be an issue there. But it's going to be here. And as far as war, well, now, there's war in the heavens. And they have, God's intelligence there running everything. And Satan still rebelled. So it could be a real problem for us here because we're nowhere near like the beings that live up there next to God.
Right.
Robo-doctors, well, in the heavens, we're not going to need them because you're not going to have a body that breaks. It's, it takes care of itself, regenerates or whatever. So that's not going to be an issue there, but it is here. And the depersonalized approach to this is going to be fraught with errors. I mean, there's still going to be hacking and things like that into the artificial intelligence. You virtually can't protect these things from a network that goes outside the doctor's room there or the hospital room. So yeah, that's something that is going to be a social issue that is going to be a real pain. And of course, when Satan takes over the earth here and his man runs the planet, they're going to use this for the mass surveillance. They're going to use this to look at people's medical records so they can figure out who to push on and what to deny them or how to adjust their records so they just die naturally and get out of the way. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of power in a very small number of hands who don't have your best interest at heart. They have their own interest at heart. And as far as discriminating, well, if you're Jewish or Christian in those times, certainly I think you will be in the AI discriminatory category, because I think this New World Order that's coming is going to be based mainly on a merger of Catholicism and Islam. And they've been working together now since 1968 that I could prove. So that's definitely a thing to watch. So of those 4 or 5 things, in the heavens, there's not going to be a discrimination. There will be ranks in the heavens of, people doing different jobs. There's a hierarchy there, but that's not really discriminating. That's just giving people the jobs that they can best do. I really look forward, to going to heaven and seeing all these things.
Well,
in a different world.
It's a great observation you just made. If you're here, the AI technology is certainly going to be impersonal. You're going to be a number. This is how the mark of the beast technology is implemented. There's no question about it. AI technology is what's going to bring about the implementation of the mark of the beast. There's no question. The discrimination, the mass surveillance, the impersonalized, who gets Medicare, who's going to be allowed to have medical, who gets to eat, who gets to work. You have to be a part of the system. So
when that happens, it will be under the Antichrist rule. It'll only be for a short time, and then he'll be cast in the lake of fire, and it'll be over for him, and Satan will be chained up. But when Jesus takes over as the rightful king of the planet, he will probably use something like our DNA code, be able to read that if we need that as humans here, not as us that are coming back in new bodies, but the human population here. You won't need to have a barcode or anything like that. Your DNA is peculiar to you. It's unique.
Right.
And there has been suggestion in the alien abductions of a lot of people that they were abducting people based on the DNA, and they would run a family line. They would start to abduct people, grandfathers, then fathers, and then children in the same family because of the DNA that they could read, from the atmosphere, up above them in a plane or a saucer or whatever. So I have no doubt that when Jesus is running the place, it will be a fair administration of the authority to peek at you, to see what you're doing, and to let you know, look, you're fixing to go left on this street, wait 10 seconds because you'll run into somebody if you don't. It'll be a traffic cop by Jesus, saying, okay, look, I'll make everything balanced and, remove the amount of death and stuff that occurs by letting you know that you should taper what you're doing to get out of the way of someone else doing their thing. And so you need a traffic cop for that. And, that's intelligence that is probably, we might call it artificial, but it's something that Jesus has control of. And I would think that when he's here doing it, it'll be fine. That discrimination won't be an issue, that war won't be an issue until the last of the millennial age when he lets Satan and his minions out for another confrontation. So, for us here right now, this is going to be an issue in cultural development that is going to be fraught with danger, and probably war and economic collapse are the two things, the scariest part of it.
Elon Musk said, don't release the demon, don't let the demon out. And he was referring to giving the AI technology the controls to make its own decisions. Now, I know that the MIT, they created they call it Norman. Norman was given all kinds of evil thoughts and violent thoughts. And so whatever you do with the AI technology, however you download it, you could give it a different ideology. You could create to do anything. So I think what Elon Musk was trying to say, Stan, was don't ever give up the controls, because if we do, you just let the demon loose. But to your point, when Jesus Christ is here, that's a whole new deal. But until then, we're going to go through a major transformation, aren't we?
Yeah, look at what you do. Like you go on Google or something to search for something. You type in one word and it goes bang, bang, bang. Oh, we've analyzed your general pattern. You'll probably be interested in this. That's artificial intelligence that's coming at you with suggestions for you, and maybe 1 million to 2 million people at once it's doing that for without any delay in time. Looking at your everything is about you on the internet. It's creepy.
It really is. It really, really is. And so it's going to be, just wait, folks. It is coming fast. Because, Stan, I can tell you, in the last 10 years, we've advanced so far. It's unbelievable, the advancement that the human race has gone through culturally because of technology. They just announced yesterday on Drudge that the average American looks at either a television screen, their phone screen, or their computer screen 666 minutes a day. That's the exact average of the American public, 666 minutes a day. If that wasn't a red flag, I don't know, if that wasn't a coded message, I don't know what else, and it's fascinating.
It is, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I'm sitting here in front of a screen now talking to you, and I'll be looking at email and gathering more information for some other things that we're doing here. And then in the evening we go and watch some TV programs to relax, and you look at your phone. Yeah, I'd say that I could do 8 or 10 hours a day pretty quick.
Stan, let's talk a little bit about North Korea. Okay, the president was yesterday giving a speech. He was in Florida. He said, "Look, you don't have rockets flying over your head. They're not testing nukes. It's the process is beginning. Are the 55 of the bodies of the have returned. So don't worry about it. We're on track. Keep going. Just relax." But what is your opinion? I mean, we have other reports that he's still working on international or intercontinental ballistic missiles, and I've got this report in my hand. It was very concerning that if he was to detonate a nuke above our heads, which they can do very easy, it would fry our infrastructures. I mean, literally fry our infrastructure.
Well, okay, I read the same article, and he is still building missile base, and that's not testing nuclear warheads. He's probably done all the testing he needs, and he's got the warheads. Now he's got to get the delivery system up to where he wants it. And as yet, as far as we know, he's not launched one to test the missiles, and his last test was enough that he could reach the western United States anyway. So with the help of perhaps China, because China is probably getting pretty miffed at what we're doing with them on trade, they will have what they need in North Korea to launch an attack. Now, that's not the only flashpoint we have to worry about, because we have the Middle East situation with Syria, Iran, and Russia. And if the United States helps Israel to block Syrian and Iranian threats to northern Israel, then Russia's going to be called into the fray, supporting Iran and Syria. So it will then be a war of high technology, which is nuclear. But we still have the other wild card in there, the Arab League, or the Arab nation rather, of about 40 nations combined into a conglomerate under the leadership of Mohammed bin Salman, Prince bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. And they have access to nuclear weapons already through Pakistan, which is a member of their group. And they are planning to move in on Iran as well. But they could also change direction, turn left at a river, and be into northern Israel. So the whole situation over there is really aimed at getting rid of the United States and Israel. The United States has to be wounded early so that we can't defend Israel when the other guys around them with all the nukes and everything come at them. And to that end, I see America being attacked. And the Hopi have told Holly and I, we were down there visiting 2 or 3 times, they said, we're going to be attacked by China, by Russia, and by one Middle Eastern country. I don't know whether that's Iran or who, but we're going to be attacked, and it's going to decimate the country. It's going to leave it so that the invaders will turn around and go back home afterwards, because there's nothing left to use. They will have destroyed the eastern coast and polluted it with radiation and perhaps germ warfare, biowarfare of some sort. About the only place left, according to the Hopi, will be on the Front Range and down into the Four Corners area, the Front Range of the Rockies. And that will be a starting point for a new small group of people to rebuild what's left of America. So even they say we're going to get clobbered in a big way. And because we're so close to that moment, the government is not going to be able to come out and say, look, I'm going to protect your power systems in your home, and I'm going to protect the grid, because 80% of the grid is not owned or controlled by the government. And they have to have private corporation permission to even put in protection for EMP on those things. They don't want government in there with more regulations, as you might well understand. So what Tim and I have done is make this plug-in device and a wiring device, either one, that you can either put into your breaker panel of your house to cover both phases, or plug into any wall socket, as you can see on slide 54 there, the portable EMP shield, which will shield everything plugged into it, as long as it's plugged into a wall plug in your house or into a wall plug in a power generator that is grounded. It will save it from the EMP attack. Now you might say, well, what good is that if we don't have a grid? You're right. It has no value unless you can find somebody with power, auxiliary power or backup power that they've saved with their own EMP shields, so they can supply power to a community. Then you join that community and you can use your computers or your radios to listen, see what's happening, that kind of stuff, and have fridges working. All this kind of stuff can be made to work again if you save it. Even if you don't have auxiliary power at the moment, there will be people around that do it. These items that you've saved in your house can be negotiable items as well for trade for food or whatever. So this is why we're doing it, letting the people get it for themselves, because we can't depend on the grid being totally protected. We just can't do it.
You talk about the Hopi Indians with their prophecy that they've seen, and I can tell you that there's another, also A.A. Allen, who was, of course, a great tent revival preacher, but toward the end of his life, he had a tremendous vision of America, and he's seen fires burning from the East Coast to the West Coast. He was extremely distraught over this, and he wrote down this prophecy, and I actually put it in my book, Reflections of the Land of the Prophets. And so it actually matches the Hopi Indians' prophetic revelation. So to your point, the technology to actually do that in America is an EMP attack. And what you've done, your company, is create a way to protect your appliances, folks. So what Stan is saying, and we've been showing that picture, Stan, on the screen. Brock, you can put it up again. It's very simple, but you can put the unit into your box if you want to do it that way, or if you have the plug-in one right there. What it does, folks, it will protect the appliance. Yes, the power grid is fried, but if you have a backup generator that's not fried, or someone else in the community has one, at least your appliances will work then. But if you don't protect them, they're all fried. It don't matter if the power gets turned on or somebody has a backup generator, nothing in your house will work anyway. And that's your whole point, isn't it, Stan?
Yes, it is. And, even Dmitry Duduman said that America will burn.
Yeah.
And it's like we're the modern Babylon. I mean, Babylon is burned, 1 hour is Babylon destroyed. If we had an EMP strike, like we're talking about, nuclear one, it would short out on all the support towers for the high voltage lines across the grid everywhere. It would short out where you've got a transformer on those what would you call them, towers anyway. And the shorts, from the EMP shorting will catch fire underneath that thing, and it would catch fire everywhere you've got power lines going.
Wow.
And some tinder underneath it. But I can see why in one hour, everything in the country would be caught on fire that's worth anything, as far as crops and burnable things. It's there.
You're saying the power lines themselves, wherever the power lines are running, that fire will shoot down from them from an EMP attack and could actually scorch the earth. We would literally have a scorched earth situation here.
Yeah, it'll catch fire to anything underneath it that is flammable. Like most of these towers go where you got wild grasses and things, and it would start out with grass fires. And then in some other areas, it would start out with explosions because of oil or gasoline that's near a power line. These sparks, these arcs, big arcs would come off when the EMP hits. So it's the mechanism, I'm afraid, that they're talking about in the book of Revelation for the destruction of Babylon.
So, folks, you're saying, how do you get this unit that Stan has? Well, you go to his website at standale.com. You go to standale.com, and there's the units. You'll see them. He has them. They're on the screens. You can find them, click on them, and be able to get what you need. Plus, they can make phone calls, can't they, Stan? And somebody can help walk them through their needs.
We try to make it pretty easy. If you go to myempshield.net, and going there, it will take you to discussions about EMPs and what makes them work and what you need to do to protect yourself. And it will also leads you through a decision-making process by pictures showing, do you have this kind of a circuit breaker in your house with a door like this or a door like that? Okay, if you got that door, click here. And then it'll say, okay, the next step is this for your house, your business? Is this portable? I mean, it takes you through the steps like that. Now, just go over here and get to that on our main website. Down about halfway, you'll see a picture of the EMP Shield. And if you click on that, it's going to take you over to myempshield.com. And you click on products, and it starts out right there saying, okay, do you want a standalone unit? Do you want a small one for your home or your house? One for large commercial models, home and business power generators, solar wind vehicles, and other models of backup power. We have units for every one of these things. We've got to protect the power supplies. We've got to protect things that they're going to run. And we have to do this because the government just cannot override the private corporations that run the power to make them put these things in and protect the whole grid. I'm sure there are some portions of the grid the military and the U.S. are protecting, but look, the Air Force has asked Tim and I to prototype one for them, to use on the bases and things, just plug in, like this portable one.
Right.
And this is a civilian version of what we did for the Air Force.
And tell him Paul Begley sent you somehow. I don't know how you do that, but just tell him, okay?
Well, do you have that up on your website?
I don't even know if I do, Stan. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Is there a...
Right. While we're talking, I'll look that up. But you've got a discount code to get $50 off if they put your name on it. Let me just get over to this other computer here. Sorry, I was on the wrong one. And I'll look it up while we're talking here.
Well, so in other words, they can save $50 on it if they use Paul Begley, whatever the Begley code is.
I think it's like that, but let me just see if I have a dash in it or something like that. So let me just go check on that. Okay. What's our next subject we're going to talk about?
Yeah, while you're looking that up, I want to go back to the pyramids for a minute because I find this extremely fascinating that the technology that we have today, the Thomas Edison light bulb, okay, the Tesla technology of grabbing energy from the sky or from the heavens or from the atmosphere or wherever. We're a nation right now, a world that's focused on trying to get more and more solar energy. But to think that the pyramids, under the pyramids, inside the secret compartments of the pyramids, they already had tubes with mercury in it that were moving. I mean, to think that they had lights working inside the pyramid is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. I don't know why I should be stunned, but it's extraordinary, Stan.
It is, and when you look at that, the technology is so advanced that it increases the proof that we've got for Atlantean civilizations being fallen ones, mating with our women, creating a race of hybrid beings, and sharing technology that they brought with them from the heavens, when they were kicked out. And this stuff is stored there underground at the plain there of the Gaza area, not the Strip, but the what do you call it? Where the Great Pyramids are.
In Giza.
Yeah, the Giza Plateau. Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old age.
Oh, don't worry.
Now I'm looking here. I'm going to tell you your discount thing. It's Pastor Butch, all run together, lowercase, just Pastor Butch. And we'll give you your clients a $50 discount per unit, by the way.
Pastor Butch, not Pastor Paul? No?
No, it says Pastor Butch. I can change it if you want, but wait a minute. No. Sorry, wrong line. You just have to type in. Begley, Begley.
Okay.
Begley, and it will give them to Pastor Paul Begley Ministries.
Okay, there you go. All right, so just type in Begley.
I'm sorry.
And they save $50. That's okay. So just type in Begley there, folks, whenever you're getting at it. Save the $50 and it'll help you. And hey, here's what I'm looking at, Stan. At the end of the day, to your point, we can, if we just take a look at the Bible, there's no question that we have seen advancing of technologies right before our very eyes, right in the scriptures, but we kind of just blow past it because we've been conditioned, we've been given a reconditioning of our minds of ancient human beings being almost like cavemen instead of understanding really the advancement of the look at the Tower of Babel, look at the all of the different buildings that were built, the pyramids and everything else. I mean, tremendous technology and lights, some type of tube lights. It really was an advanced society, and we got to start thinking a little differently, don't we?
We do, and there are skeletons they found of various types of humans, Homo erectus and stuff like that, and those are different. Those beings are different than the Adamic, Adam and Eve type beings, because they had a different connection inside their body through their nervous system, their heart, or whatever, to actually commune with our Creator. They had direct lines of communication back and forth, and until the forbidden fruit was eaten and their eyes were open to everything, that line was open all the time. And then it required prayer after that, because God took them out of the Garden of Eden, and they started to mix with these other creatures that didn't have the Spirit of God in them. And they also went into Saudi Arabia across the Gulf of Aden, the little port there. There was probably a land bridge at that time. And when they did, they found the fallen ones there that made Atlantis. And there was this crossbreeding to make giants and half animal, half man type chimeras. So, yeah, I mean, well, anyway, it's a big issue. It's a big issue.
Last time we interviewed Stan, I want to just touch on this, and we're getting ready to close out here, but we talked about your trip to where you believe you found the area where the Garden of Eden was. That interview was watched over 35,000 times in 24 hours. It was one of the most. It really was. It was one of the most fascinating interviews we ever did. Just people were so curious. Have you any updates on that? Since I know you're going to be bringing out something, the people want to see it.
Yeah, I'm still editing a lot of it. You have no idea how many gigabytes of data videos I'm having to edit and make them look intelligent when I put them together into a video. But I am going to put that up on the YouTube channel, on my channel there. We're working with the administrators of the conservancy that takes care of the crater, the Ngoro crater now. Still getting some information from the oldest native tribe there, the Datoga, who lived there for maybe 3,000 years before the Maasai kicked him out 180 years ago in a war. But they have information about something we found up at the very top, where the water of the land of Eden were gushed up into the Garden of Eden to make the 4 rivers and to also water the garden. In the area where that water came up, there's a perfect square shape like that in contour at 9,600 feet. And it, on 1 foot intervals, it starts to open out and become a rectangle and then a little bit bigger, as though it were a slope coming down into this perfect square dug into the top where the water is. Now, I don't know whether the Maasai or whether the Datoga or whether God himself made it a square opening, but that's the low point where all the water came from for the great rivers. And I think the whole area there is about 20 acres or so, but this one hole where it would have come out to start with would have been, let's see, probably a quarter of an acre, maybe to a half acre. But that looks like we found the spot where all the water came up through. And today, of course, it's still just pumping up water for the people to use. And there's a split off of that what do you call it, a spring, about half a kilometer this way down the hill. There's another huge spring connected to that one, which is where all of the Maasai up in the area get their water. They trek up there with their burros every day and their 5-gallon water jugs and fill it up and trek back home with water from these springs. So even today, it's watering the people that live in the garden and the animals that live down below in the crater of the garden. Fascinating place.
What a fascinating, and we can't wait till you come out with your DVD or whatever it is that you bring forward. People have been asking me, and I said, look, he's working on it. When he gets it done, I'm sure he's going to make that available. And It's going to be a fascinating DVD to watch, no
I
question.
was just talking to the conservator yesterday about the number of people that can come into the garden, and get in a safari truck and go on the road they've got so you can go into the Garden of Eden and back out. A lot of the tour operators over there call that Africa's Garden of Eden, but more apropos, it's the world's Garden of Eden. It's the original. And the problem they've got is that this year there's going to be 750,000 people drive through that Garden of Eden. And, the tour operators are all stopping when they see a plastic bottle or refuse that somebody's thrown out of their Jeep into the garden. They'll pick it up and put it in and clean up to police the area. But when we have that many vehicles going through hundreds per day, that's putting in carbon monoxide into the atmosphere where the animals all breathe it, and the plants are going to be exposed to it. So we've been suggesting that perhaps they can talk with Elon Musk or someone and try to get a deal to have some electric safari buses that are up on the rim, and you get out of your normal safari Jeep and get into that and go down for a very quiet, non-polluting tour to preserve the environment, because there are just so many people wanting to come see it now.
Wow. I mean, but fascinating, folks. Stan Deyo, standeyo.com. Go there, check out all of it. He's got great information. Obviously, if you need to get the EMP shield, do that. That's the place to get it. The Bible says the Lord gives us power to create witty inventions. Okay, it's in His hands to do that, and certainly we need these inventions. And some of the things we got to protect ourselves. We know there's prophecies telling us of attacks that are coming. We need to be prepared for it. Stan, I want to thank you for coming on, being with us today. I wish we had 3 hours. That's what we need. It's fascinating information you always bring when you come, and we appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it, and hope it's been a help to people. Remember, your code is Begley.
Yeah, my code's Begley, folks. Make sure you do that when you go there, all right? Check it out. And I'll try to remember that as well. We'll see you guys next time right here. And I hope you've really enjoyed Stan Deyo at www.standeyo.com. I'll be back with you again in a little bit.